We're live. If you're ready, we're set. We're good to go.
Hello, everyone. I am Mudirakat Olatudu Oshudia. I am a teacher and I'm a businesswoman. You're welcome to the WBC show, Women Building Communities show. Women Building Communities, we aim to empower women of different backgrounds. As for this show, we discuss women generally. And the show is open to women of all ages, ethnicities, religions, and so on. Today, we'll be discussing harassment. Women being harassed in different societies. I mean, women experiencing harassment in different societies. Before we proceed with our discussions, I would like to call our panelists themselves. Thank you. Hello.
Yeah, hello everyone. You're welcome to the WBC show. Like Sister Mudraka said, my name is Rashida Hassan, and I'm one of the regular panelists on the show. I'm a media consultant as well as a community worker.
Yeah, who else do we have there? Sorry.
Good morning.
I can't see everyone.
Good morning. I'm Sharifat Akibu Onatade. I am a social researcher and I also tutor young children. I am one of the regular panelists and I welcome you all to today's episode of WBC show. Thank you.
Yeah, who else is there? Can we have our guest panelists to introduce themselves, please? Hello.
I think we just lost Sister Kudra. I guess it's the same technical issues you were having. So maybe she'll come back on while we're still waiting for the others.
Okay, so then we can proceed then. As I've said earlier, we'll be discussing harassment. So to our viewers, if you've got any comments, you can type in your comments and we'll read out to the audience. Thank you. So now the panelists here, can you please tell us from your own perspective what harassment means? Can I start with Sharifa, please?
Okay, thank you. In my own understanding, it means being discriminated against or being bullied or being attacked by opportunists. The opportunities that they quickly want to take an advantage of our situation. It might be because you are alone or you appear in a certain way that doesn't make them feel comfortable. So it might also be because of their poor understanding of certain issues pertaining to a certain set of people you belong to in their view. So I'll call that a stereotype. So we get harassed, in everyday life on the streets or, at workplaces, we get bullied, we get attacked in different ways, verbally, physically, even in our homes sometimes. That's my understanding of harassment.
Thank you. Can we move on to Sister Rashida, please?
I think for me, there are certain keywords when we talk about harassment. One is an unwanted behavior. So somebody behaved to you in a certain way that you didn't solicit for and that you don't want. So that is one. It's also usually very offensive. So the perpetrator would, say things, do things, or sometimes not even say at all, because harassment sometimes can be physical as well as it can be psychological. And then that's the fact that that's the nature of harassment. It is unwanted, it is offensive, and then the way it makes you feel also makes it an harassment. So most harassment will make you feel intimidated, and make you feel humiliated. And it can be exhibited in different ways. Sometimes you see the physical results of being harassed, and sometimes you don't see the physical results, but it's actually your own feeling, which is entirely yours, because of the way that person or this particular situation has made you feel.
Thank you. I think I saw Sister Dr. Adirolu. Do you want to tell us what harassment means?
I guess Dr. Adirolu is not prepared to be one of our panelists today. So, but we've got Sister Medina.
Okay,
Sister
Medina.
I think she's on. So yeah, go on.
She's on. I saw her.
Okay.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Nice to be with you. Yeah. I am Medina Omobolanle Sholate. I'm a lawyer, I'm a legal practitioner, and a property lawyer. So I think you want me to start?
Yeah, well, sure, Sister Medina, we lost you at the beginning, so I didn't even know you were there. So sorry about that. So if you like to just tell us the brief, what you understand by harassment. I think she's gone again. So sorry. Okay, as for me, harassment means any unwanted behavior that intimidates me. I mean, something that that affects my mental health. Okay, as we have heard the meaning of harassment from our panelists, many women have been harassed physically, emotionally, verbally, sexually, even in our homes. Sharifa, can you describe how women have experienced harassment in at their workplaces, please? Thank you. Hello, can you hear me at all? Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Yeah, please, before you go on, just because I think Sister Mudraka is having issues seeing people on because of her devices. So we've got Sister Kudra Lawa is back on, and Sister Medina Sholate is also back on, and there is Dr. Fauzia. Okay. So those are the people aside from I and Sharifa on the panel.
Okay, Sharifa, before you move on then, can I ask the other guest panelists to introduce themselves, please? Thank you. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Salamu alaikum.
Okay. Will that be me? Because I was off for a while.
Yes, it can be you, yeah, guest panelist. Sorry.
All right, no worries. Thank you for having me. My name is Kudrat Lawal Adeshino. I'm a radiographer and an entrepreneur. I'm humbled to be here, invited as one of the panelists. I pray Allah guide our speech and make it beneficial for the speaker and the listeners. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for that brief introduction. Yeah, Sharifa, sorry, I will repeat my question. Do you want to describe to us how women have experienced harassment at their workplaces?
Um, well, it's not only women that experience harassment. Okay, both men and women experience harassment. It might be, it comes in different forms. It might be cyberbullying, which happens online. It includes, sorry, it includes spreading gossip.
Sorry.
It's okay. It includes spreading gossip about people on social media, or harassing them through messages and text, and even calls. They use intimidation tactics, and it can also be making critical remarks, about people, or making excessive demands that are impossible to meet, like from boss to a junior worker. It might also be a form of intruding on a colleague or someone or an employee's personal life. As I said, it comes in different forms. It might be threatening, it might be shouting, it might be swearing or insulting people, whether in public places or in private places.
Thank you. Yeah, as we have heard stories, we've listened to news, we've watched videos of how women have been harassed in different places, public places, everywhere, in our homes, at work, at everywhere. Sister Rashida, can you share your opinions on any stories of how women have been harassed, please?
Well, I guess all around us there are stories. People would have different narrations of harassment that they've witnessed or that have happened to them. I think the most recent one, for example, in the UK, that is very popular, is the one that became fatal. The issue of the school teacher that was murdered on a way just to meet up a friend a few meters away from a house. And it was something that really was a big story in the UK, and it really called attention to the issue of women harassment and the way generally women are safe in spaces. So that particular story, and it's very concerning that also happened just few months after another similar case was reported of another female that just went missing, and then eventually she was discovered dead, and somebody that was well known to her within the neighborhood was eventually known to have harassed and actually murdered her. Now, all this that I've talked about are cases that have become fatal, that are unfortunately the women could not even have the luxury of healing because they actually lost their life to it. But there are quite a lot of other stories, of harassment of women, of people just talking to you anyhow, just because you're a woman, and they feel that you're weak and you won't be able to take care of yourself, and they can bully you, lord it over you and all that. So I'm sure everybody has got, lots of stories, either that has happened to them personally or that, they've witnessed. As for me, I would say, fortunately, I've never been like, at least since I became an adult and I can like speak for myself, I've never really been harassed, maybe by the opposite sex, but I might have suffered other kinds of harassment, maybe in workplace, where people feel just because you're a woman, they can talk to you anyhow, or if you come up with an idea, they feel that your idea must be shouted, they must shout you down and that you can't possibly have a, the ability to come up with things. And also, but in terms of physical or serious harassment like that, alhamdulillah, I've not really suffered it either domestically or out of the house. But I have definitely faced situations where I have felt intimidated, I have felt humiliated, and mostly mine has been more psychological than physical. So you come up with you've done this great work in the workplace, you've put in so much effort, and you know that even people who do, when a man does something half of what you do, they get praise, they get all the rewards and what have you. But just because they're what are you even talking about? Do you even understand it? And you feel undermined. So that's much I can say with regards to
Thank you.
how it has happened.
Thank you. Yeah, some women like to dress. Some of us dress according to our culture. Some dress according to our beliefs. As we are here, we're Muslim sisters. We dress according to the Qur'an, which says women should cover the parts. Some women dress to be attractive, or some just dress to impress. And while some dress to just satisfy their conscience, they just want to look good. As a result, women are likely to be targets of any kind of harassment when we find ourselves in a society whose people have a peculiar sense of dressing. Sister Kudro, do you agree with me? Hello? Is she there? Or can you even hear me? Am I still on? Hello?
You're on, and Sister Kudra again. Unfortunately, we just lost her. She was on a few minutes ago, but yeah, she's gone.
I'm having the same issue. My internet connection is just fluctuating. I've been hope and hope. Okay. So does anyone want to contribute in that aspect then while we wait for her? Hello.
Yes, I think you're talking about dressing of women, right?
That we are due to the way we dress, we're likely to be targets of any kind of harassment, especially when we find ourselves in a society whose people have a peculiar sense of dressing. I mean, our mode of dressing may be seen as indecent to them, or maybe it doesn't. I don't know. So do you agree with me? So we are likely to be harassed in such societies.
Yes, and it depends, and to be honest, it may be confusing because we do blame we blame sexual harassment, let's say sexual harassment, because that's the one that pertains women most, on our outfits. If I can remember from our last discussion about 2 months ago, if it was socially acceptable to wear anything, as in freedom of dressing, but is it socially acceptable to wear anything, to be honest? In fact, there's nothing like freedom of dressing. I think we have lawyers here. There's nothing like freedom. There is right to adequate clothing in most human rights law, and there is also right to dress according to your religious beliefs, as much as I know. So we all know that women's dressing, the wardrobes, everything you wear, they're often cited as the main causes of sexual crimes. But, well, it's up to us. There is an experience of an Indian woman I would like to share. She lives in India. She was shamed for wearing a pencil skirt to work. I know it doesn't sound like a big deal to see a lady wearing a pencil skirt. We see it everywhere, but in some environments, So that day, in our experience, she got loads of comments from co-workers, particularly men, saying that she's seductive, she's looking sexy, she has night, they're describing her backside and things like that. So she didn't feel comfortable with it, and she found herself crying in the office toilet, realizing that she can't even wear ordinary pencil skirts without getting comments from guys and angry look from girls as well. So I would say if you live in Africa or Asia, especially in areas where not so many people have been westernized, if you dress like a Western lady, then be prepared for some consequences, of course, which, we are not in support of. But I'm only trying to talk reality here. So in my own view, it's essential to understand what is socially acceptable in your community, except if you have a religious reasons, then you are legally safe at least.
Hello.
Hello?
Thank you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Is Sister Kudra back? Oh, Sister Modena.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm having issue with my internet. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to fix up some things. Okay. Yeah, as for our viewers, if you've got any contribution, you can click on the finger icon and I will let you in to make your contributions. From Islamic perspective, can anyone just tell us how women can handle the situation in case they get harassed? I mean, what should we do? There are ways we handle things in Islam. Do you have any opinion to share with us on that?
I would rather suggest that for me, I'm not a scholar, so I don't know what would be the Islamic position or Islamic ruling in terms of what should be the way you handle an harassment situation. But I do know that my understanding of Islam, that there shouldn't be any reason for anybody to harass you in the first place. So the example that Sister Sharifa gave about the woman in India, I mean, every person have a right to do, to follow what they believe in and to do what they believe in. Now, it's another thing if you decided on your own accord to follow certain maybe certain religious belief or certain community norms, because every society has its culture, it has its socialization process, it has its moral standards. What are the expected values? How are you expected to dress, talk, and all that? So yes, those values should have been taught to every single person through the socialization process, whether by their parents, by their community, by the way they relate to others. But if they still chose to do or dress in a particular way, I don't think that is enough reason for anybody to harass them. I think it's about people understanding that it's just not okay to make someone feel like they are little than themselves. It can't just be okay. And I believe that is what Islam, teaches us in all situations. So yes, you can talk with someone, you can advise them, you can tell them about the teachings of Islam, you can try to make them understand what is expected of them, but you cannot force them to do anything. And forcing them, harassing people by the way you talk to them, is forcing them to do what they do not want to do. You can talk, you can do preaching, but you do not have a right to make another person feel little than themselves, because it's Allah who has created all of us, and he has said that we are all equal before Allah, and what distinguishes one person or makes you one is by your practice and your good deed. So it's never a good deed to make somebody feel less than themselves. So I believe that would be my own understanding of looking at it as a Muslim, and looking at whether the person, whatever religious, race, or ethnic background you're coming from.
Thank you so much for that explanation.
Just so you know, we have Sister Kudra and Sister Fauzia also here.
They are here now. I'm so happy to hear that. Sister Kudra, are you here?
So sorry, my internet connection has been playing up. I've tried a couple of things.
I'm having the same issue, I understand. So I asked a question when you were not here. So I would like to repeat that. I want to hear your opinion on that issue. I said, women, some of us dress to be attractive. Some of us dress according to our cultures. Some of us dress according to our beliefs. And some dress to just satisfy their conscience. They just want to look good. As a result, we are likely to be targets of any kind of harassment when we find ourselves in a society whose people have a peculiar sense of dressing. Do you agree with me?
Bismillah. I would say yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, in the sense that, you know, every society has set standards, if I can use that word, and some form of social expectations. For instance, if you're in Saudi Arabia, Mecca particularly, you're expected to dress in a certain way.
Oh my days. Oh, is she here? Am I on? Sorry.
She just got frozen, I think. I can't hear her too, but she's frozen. There is Sister Medina Shulate also. She's there in case you want her to jump in.
Okay. So let's move on. As women, we want our voices to be heard. We want to dress the way we feel like. In fact, we want to create our own styles. And I don't think we've committed any crime by doing so. Unfortunately, some men take advantage of us. They harass us. So my question now is, how do we guard ourselves against being harassed? Because we want to feel free. We want to dress the way we want to just move freely, we want to go to work, and there's no crime, we're not committing any crime, dressing nice to work.
Hello?
Out, you know. So how do we guard ourselves against being harassed? Thank you.
Hello?
Sister Medina,
Yeah.
would you like to contribute to
Okay.
that? Hello?
Yes.
Hello,
Yes,
I can hear you.
I can hear you too. So though the internet is a bit bad.
Okay.
But on that, generally, harassment is harassment in workplace, in our society, homes, or in different aspects of life, has remained a recurrent decimal. And it appears to have become part of our culture. I say it's part of our culture because it is seen in every angle in the society, be it at home, be it in school, be it in the marketplace, and every sector, companies, private companies, government establishments, agency, and all that. So it's something that is prevalent. However, this debased behavior has put women, especially in workplace, in a compromising situation. To your question, it has also reared its head into our tertiary institutions, where you have unscrupulous lecturers or non-academic staff, you know, harassing students. This is the norms in any society, whether in Nigeria or other parts of the world. But there are so many interventions. There has been diverse intervention in checkmating these trends through legislations and all legislation, rules, and laws. But unfortunately, all this appears to be, all this appears not to have actually solved the problem of harassment in our society. When you talk about harassment as regards women dressings and all that, it's all encompassing. I would like to say that we have different types of harassment. We have harassment, we have the physical harassment. This has direct contact with the victim. We also have those that are not physical. In this case, you're talking of discriminatory, psychological, cyberbullying, sexual and third-party harassment. All these are forms of harassment that are prevalent in our society. We cannot say it does not exist. We all know it exists, even to us as adults. Those of us who are adults, we experience bullying in our offices. I'll give a very good example. I'm a lawyer. The very first day I got my appointment with Lagos State Government and I was posted out. I had to report to the HR department with my letter. The first question she asked was that, who owns this letter? Did you come to submit for someone? I said, no, I'm the one. He said, you? I was harassed that day. I can never forget that day in my life. In the presence of others, said, are you sure you are the one? So this is a form of harassment. This is psychological. We can also target physical because it affected my feeling. Physically, I was embarrassed because there were people present at that day.
Sorry, sister. Sorry. From your explanations, I will specifically ask you a question because you said there are legislations on harassment, women being harassed. But many women, we have suffered harassment and experienced trauma all our lives. Some of us have experienced trauma all their lives as a result of experiencing harassment. So, do you think there are some legal steps that women could take, especially in Nigeria, when they get harassed?
Yes, thank you. There are legislations, there are laws, there are bills. But unfortunately, I will say as a lawyer, that most of these laws or bills have not actually addressed the problem of harassment and its manifestation. But I can also say that there are laws that we can explore in Nigeria. One of those laws in Nigeria is the Harassment and Criminal Law of Lagos State. We have a criminal law, and under the criminal law system in Nigeria, we have each state has its own criminal law based on its own environment. But the one in Lagos, for instance, you can come up because the issue of harassment is a criminal matter. So you can come under the criminal law. So we have the laws. Also, we have the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act of 2015 in Nigeria. This is also another law of Lagos National Assembly. This law is to prevent violence against any person, be it woman or man. And When you're talking of harassment, harassment is a form of violence too against the victim. This is another law. We also have the sexual harassment law in Nigeria. That is also on. We also have that is part of the law that we use. We also have sexual harassment bill. We have international law that has been domesticated in our legislation, like the Article 7 of the Civil Rights Act. These are international laws, but some of these laws have been domesticated and can be explored in Nigeria. But there's a challenge. People who suffer harassment don't come out. They don't come up to register or to complain about the harassment. So which makes it very difficult for all to explore these instruments to, judiciously in our legal system. When you're talking of rape, for instance, or you're talking of any of this sexual harassment or even office harassment or any harassment, people just want to keep, keep it to yourself and move on. This is the fundamental problem that we are having. Why these laws have not been used effectively to address the issue of harassment in Nigeria. In most cases, people don't report cases of harassment. You just want to bear it and just move on. But we need to let people know that you can always come up if you are harassed and you have your evidences. You can come up. And I must also say that in Nigeria, issue of harassment is a fundamental right issue. Any fundamental right issue could come up you could come to court or could be, instituted using any instrument of the court. You could come up with a summons, with originating summons, with whatever that is acceptable by the court in which you want to bring the action.
Sorry, Sister
It's one of the issues under the fundamental human rights.
Sorry, Sister Medina, I have a question.
Sorry, sister, to cut it short. Sorry, Sister Medina. Sorry. Please get harassed. In Nigeria, can you tell us where do we report the situation? Do we go to the police station or we go to the court directly, or I don't know?
You can go to the office of public defender. There's office of public defender. It's very close to National Stadium, Surulere.
Okay.
The desk there.
For those of us in Lagos, okay.
For those of us in Lagos, we can move to office of public defender. Usually it is free. Just walk in there to lodge in. A lawyer will be assigned to your matter.
Sorry, sister. Sorry.
They will take it up from there.
Sorry,
going
sister.
to the police station may not. Oh.
I have a question. I'm very sorry to cut in. Oh, is there like a hotline to call? Because if you say there is an office in the whole of Lagos State, then there's a problem here. If on the street, a woman is being harassed and you said, and the system is to go to one office, there is only one office, then there is a very big problem. Is there a hotline or are there places, situated offices, on like every other streets of Lagos? And now we're talking only about Lagos. We have 36 states in Nigeria. Now, because I just wonder if there are measures that are in place to implement these laws. I understand you've quoted a lot of bills and laws and everything, but are there ways that they are, effective? Are they effective?
Yeah,
Sorry.
On that question, like I stated, that the Office of Public Defender, you can report a case of harassment there. In every local government in Lagos State, we also have the mediation center, and we have the Office of the Women and Poverty Alleviation and Harassment Center in non-local governments. You could come up and report in every local government in Lagos State. You can come up and report a case. I will give you an incident happened about 3 weeks ago, and somebody walks up to that department. The community, they brought a woman that was harassing a child of 4 years. They are just passerby, and they brought in the child. They collected the child from her. They brought her and the child to that office, and I was invited as a lawyer because they will actually invite me in the sitting once the sitting is about to commence. So I was invited. Behold, the woman is even in veil. The child has been 4 years old. You will see scratches of canes all over the body. So these instruments are there. The only problem we have is for people to explore, to take advantage of it. Go to any local government. There's nowhere in Lagos State or in any state in Nigeria that you don't have a local government. In those local governments, they're usually the mediation center. You also have that particular office that is in charge of discrimination against women, poverty alleviation, and all that. They attend to that. In all those local governments, they have proscribed lawyers. And where the cases is beyond, we transfer the matter to the states. So if you cannot explore the Office of Public Defender, that is in Surulere, go to your nearby local government and report your harassment. But you need one thing, you need your evidence, you need your facts. Because most people that even come up are only
okay,
don't have facts.
Sister.
Also,
Sorry.
just to let you know, Sister Kudirat is here now. She's been here for some time now.
Okay.
I have some contributions about what have been said so far. So when you do eventually come back to me, I think you should go for Sister Kudra now.
Okay, sister, before I forget that question, Sister Medina, are you satisfied with the way, I don't know, you have never mentioned police. I don't think you do. You did. Are you satisfied with the way all these agencies you've mentioned, are you satisfied with the way they investigate harassment cases? Do you think they do investigate it after the cases are being reported? Do you think they do proper investigation? Are you satisfied with that if they do? Thank you.
Yeah, I actually wanted to mention before my other sister, started with her own question. You see, normally, case of harassment, like I've said, will come under like a criminal issues. And when there are a criminal issue, the first place that you're supposed to go is to the police. Report. Yeah. Normally, when you get to the police, there is a human rights desk there. They have it in there. Normally, they're supposed to have it. That is supposed to take it up from there. But unfortunately, the way the police, sorry to say, is, I really want to be careful, the constitution, the way the system, that agency is constituted in this country is not something that I would encourage anybody to, to go for. Like, in this case, they wanted to take the woman to the police. Actually, don't go to the police station because you won't get anything. Let us take these steps so that we can get justice. So, normally, they don't do it well. They try as much as possible to extort people in the process of investigation. Most of the time, when they are investigating harassment, the issue of corruption comes in. People buy justice. I shouldn't, I will be very free to say that. People buy justice. Whoever has the money will get the best of investigation from the IPO, that is investigating police officer. So there is no values again. The values, the moral values, the professional ethics are not there. And that is why I would say that I'm not comfortable. And I, even as a lawyer, will not use police as my first point.
But these other agencies, but the other agencies that you've mentioned, that the one in Surulere, the Medivia, I made a mistake. I would have written them down so that we can post this on our website for women in case they get harassed. So do they do the proper investigation? I know you are involved in it. You are satisfied. Are you?
Yes,
Hello?
they do. Hello, I'm with you.
Okay.
So far, they are very good instruments that can be explored. Yeah, at least for now, from my own experience, over 20 years at the back.
Thank you so much.
I'm still coming back.
I am coming back to that. Since we have Sister Kudra on, can you, Sister Kudra, you were trying to say something before your internet connection took you off again. Are you here? Do you want to continue from where you stopped?
I'm here. Yeah, thank you so much. And I sincerely apologize for the interruptions. You asked me about if the fact that different societies.
I said we are targets to any kind of harassment, when we find ourselves in a society whose people have a peculiar sense of dressing, due to our own dressing. Yes, thank you.
So when we say and I said yes and no. When we say peculiar, what is peculiar is very subjective, and also, it could mean that, in a particular society we have a fair amount of people practicing the same faith, or a fair amount of people dressing according to the dictate of the tradition of that particular place. And I cited Saudi Arabia and the UK as an example. So what that means is that if you dress with, let's say you have your hijab on in a particular society, then you get the thumbs up for conforming with the norm. And in your own mind, you will think, I am decent. In that particular society, you're defined as decent. But the truth is, a change in location could mean that that dressing that you count to be decent is not acceptable in another society. It's seen as outrageous. What is this? What are you putting on? I mean, I've been called a Taliban on the street of London. You understand? So, and this is something I would gladly walk down in Mecca and feel like, oh my God, I look like the rest of the crowd. You understand? So that is very possible. So I said yes. Sometimes it depends on what is generally acceptable. And I said no because, again, if you go to Dubai, for instance, you will rarely get harassed for wearing anything. So I want to sort of link it to what is generally acceptable in terms of moral behavior in every society. What is generally acceptable? Some society have history of people getting drunk and misbehaving and they get away with it. But some other society have some degree of decency where they know to respect everyone for who they are and what they choose as their own mode of dressing. So that is where I said no. That in UAE, for instance, a fair percentage will dress with their hijab, but they understand that they're a community that is open to foreigners and they cannot possibly impose their own lifestyle on these foreigners. And it is like an unwritten code of conduct where everyone knows to respect everyone. You understand? And this is not saying there might not be other form of harassment, but I'm focusing on your question, which has to do with dressing. And now let's take Northern Nigeria, for instance, where, the minimum you get from a typical Northern setting would be that someone would tie at least a scarf for a female on their head. And there will be somebody that will come from a completely different culture and choose to dress the way they like. The truth is, if they're in the metropolis, if they're in town, they might not get harassed. But if they move into the villages or suburban areas, they might get harassed for not, conforming with the norm. Again, it goes to show that it may not be necessarily because this society accepts this form of dressing, but it will be more about how enlightened and how aware the people of that society are. So that again was why I said no, yes and no. Hope you're getting my.
Yeah, thank you so much. I also asked the question when you were not here. I'm supposed to go to somebody else, but I don't know what your internet might do again. So please, I asked the question. I said, from an Islamic perspective, how should a woman handle the situation in case she gets harassed?
Well, that's a tricky one because the truth is the woman might not be in an Islamic society. So she might not get this sort of justice or setting that will offer Islamic solutions. So for a Muslim woman, generally, I would say that there are measures that you might have to put in place so that you don't become a victim of harassment. As much as we can try, it does not mean that the person will face zero harassment. However, you might have been able to shield yourself from gross harassment.
Yeah.
How do I mean? if you know that you live in a society where, okay, I'll give an example. You know that, okay, if you go to some part of Lagos at certain time, it will be some type of guys that will be out and about at that time of the day. You understand? And a lot of the time, this set of people, maybe they take hard drugs. So they are already under the influence of something. And they will most likely act irrational. So I would say, as a woman, you really want to avoid such places. The day I got called a Taliban, I tell you, I could have prevented that from happening. Not to justify harassment, but it's about being proactive and shielding myself from harassment. That day, it was in London. We live very close to a football stadium. And this particular football club, they are notorious for being rude. You know, typical football fans, they will get drunk anyway. But this particular football club, they are one of the worst that you can think of in London. So I miscalculated. On a day they are having their match, I would typically check when they are starting, when they are finishing, and I would try to avoid when they are on their way to the stadium and when they are coming out of the stadium. So I would go out when they are in the stadium, so that our path does not cross. So this particular day, they had finished the match and they lost. They lost the match. An average football freak is already irritated. The fact that it's a home match, it's a home game, and they lost it. And me now with my hijab and jilbab and everything, that was when I jammed them, just, you know, in their moment of rage. So they were all shouting, and you know, with football fans, once one of them starts like this, the others will pick it, it becomes a chorus. Hey, Osama, Taliban, this and that. Well, that's not right. I felt harassed. I felt humiliated. But also, I probably could have done something to prevent that, because it is very much predictable. You understand? So for me, as a Muslim woman, I think more than anything, I need to be proactive. I need to know where to stand up for myself and where to run. It will make no sense for me to stand in the middle of drunk football fan and be making a point. It will be very foolish, and I might end up being lynched. So, I mean, I'll say, for a Muslim woman, you have to put things in context. If you're in an Islamic society, or if it is in a workplace situation, are there policies in place in your workplace that you can explore to push for justice? You know, what is the protocol in your workplace if you get harassed just because you're a Muslim woman? What do you need to do? What are the steps you need to take? Are these situations avoidable? Can you sort of prevent them, protect yourself from being exposed to such harassment? If that is possible, explore that. And if you're in an Islamic society, go by the rule of the land, explore that. So what is most important is shield yourself as much as you can, and, you know, explore the laws. Depending, you know, harassment is a big thing. It happens in different places, like Sister Rashida said earlier on during the session. It could be workplace, it could be domestic, it could be, so depending on where it is happening, that will determine, you know, what a Muslim woman will do. I'll stop there for now.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I think the technical issues has happened again, and our moderator is presently not online, so I'll just stand in for her. Also, I think we might have to have a second part of this discussion, because we really have not been able to even scratch the issue as much as we should. Today, we're meant to have a legal practitioner from the UK as part of the panelists, but unfortunately, at the last minute, she couldn't be part of it. So you see that we've heard from Sister Medina, who has given us very good information regarding the legal aspects to addressing the issue from the point of view of somebody who is in Nigeria, and the laws and available avenues to pursue. And just so that we just wrap up for today, and I think we would have to reconvene at our next edition of Women Building Communities to actually continue with this discussion and possibly try to address more issues, because we've not even talked about the social and cultural things that can be done to actually tackle the problem of harassment. Because when we're talking about what do people do, who did they go to, whatever, we've not talked about the fact of what even causes harassment. Why would somebody want to harass the other? What are the social or socialization process that would make somebody who feel that I can just talk anyhow, or I can do something to make another person feel less than themselves, feel humiliated. So there is a socio-cultural aspect to the discussion that we have not even looked at all. So that's why I think it will be very important for us to have, a second edition of this particular discussion. And of course, Sister Sharifa asked a question to Sister Medina about the issue of who to contact. When people are being harassed, some harassment are so brutal that the victim would be benefited to be able to contact somebody immediately. So for instance, in the UK, you know that if you are under any particular threatening situation and you have your phone with you, you know what number to call, and you are likely going to get, some kind of help that will come to you to help at that instance. And then why are people not going out? Why don't people actually report harassment? We've not even discussed that also. So I think we would wrap up today. Unfortunately, we have not been able to take any contribution also today from our participants. I would like to apologize for that, because we're meant to stop at 11. So unfortunately, we won't be able to take your contribution, but hold it there. You can join us next month when we're going to have the second part discussion of this. And then inshallah, by the grace of God, you would be able to put in your contribution. But before we go, I would like to go around our panelists to just have your final thoughts. Like I said, we would have a second part, but what do we want people to go away with today? So I'll start with Sister Sharifa, one of our regular panelists, and then move on to the next person.
Okay, I'll say, because I listened to Mufti Menk, the popular Islamic scholar, which most of us know about online. Now, he quoted Quran 70 verse 6, that walking away is the best solution to avoid greater trouble when we are being harassed as Muslims. He said we don't have to lose our great conduct and characters because someone has lost theirs, and we don't have to feel any guilt because we haven't done anything wrong. So then, according to Sister Kudro, I think that's like a take home for me. Try to prevent harassment in any way possible, so that we don't have to face, the consequences and feeling intimidated and having psychological effects on us.
Thank you very much for that, Sister Medina.
Thank you. Like on the final note for today, prevention is better than cure. That's what the doctors will say. Preventing harassment, just like the other panelists have rightly mentioned, is better for us, because getting justice within our judicial system may be a bit hectic and expensive. So it is better if we can just try as much as possible to prevent harassment. And in any way, in case we get harassed, let us explore the instruments of law let us feel free to open up, to complain to the appropriate court and seek help. The laws are there. It is just for us to make use of them. Thank you.
Yeah, Sister Kudra?
Thank you. For most of us here on this program, I want to believe that we don't belong to the group of people that will go around, go about harassing people. But where we might be a party to harassment and encouraging harassment unconsciously is if we urge the person harassing another person on. And there are so many ways we could be a part of that. For instance, I've been in circles where someone will say, oh, maybe there's a video going around. I saw a video of a guy who yanked off the wig of a lady, and when say, good for them. Why did they dress like that? You're sort of promoting harassment. There are better ways of educating people about the choices they make in terms of their lifestyle without going that far. Another way is, oh, they call somebody maybe a demeaning name, oh, boy, this and that, and you are laughing, you're smiling, and that person is being humiliated. And you also sort of join the harassment train by thinking it's a live joke, and so these are the ways that I believe the caliber of people on this show can be promoter of harassment, and we should be intentional. We should be conscious of these facts and not be a party to harassment, indirectly. So
Thank you.
that's my.
Thank you very much. And I think that is a very good note to actually try to sum up and wrap up until we meet next episode of WBC, which is going to be the last Saturday. The last Saturday of the month of November. And before then, like I said, from everything we have all said, we have only just scratched the surface of this discussion. Like all the speakers have alluded to, there is more to issue of harassment than talking about dressing. There is actually a whole lot that we can still talk about, what we need to do, how we should do it, and what are the things that is expected of us as a society, as a people, to actually curb harassment. And I personally believe that curbing harassment in all its ramification, in all its form, is about individual as well as community efforts. So those individual and community efforts are things that we will be looking at in our next episode of WBC. So for today, I would like to thank each and every member of the panel, including our moderator, who unfortunately had to go off because of technical problem, and on her behalf, because she is the coordinator of today's session, she's put a lot of effort into ensuring that each and every one of us are able to be here today and have this discussion. I want to thank Sister Mudirakat, and also to thank every single member of panelists as well as participants who were part of this discussion, either from the beginning, joining the middle, and is with us all up to the last part of the discussion. And of course, for those who are joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, thank you very much for joining WBC show. And if you're watching this show for the first time, be reminded that this happens once in a month, and we discuss issues that affect women, and that talk about the development of our communities and how women are actually contributing to this. And in doing that, we talk about challenges, opportunities, and what have you. And if you've enjoyed this episode of WBC, please share it with your family and friends on any of the platform on which you're watching. And please leave us a comment if you have questions or you have specific topics you would like us to address as a panel. Please feel free to send us message on our social media platform. And if there are people you would like us to bring on to discuss specific issues, please do contact us. And on that note, I say thank you very much to every panelist. Sister Medina, it's a long time I saw you last. I think the last time we saw will be over 30 years ago, if not more than. Yeah. So I feel really happy to be able to, see you here today and have this conversation with you. Sister Kudra, thank you very much, my paddy. And of course, my darling sister Sherifa, thank you very much. That I have done on behalf of Sister Mudirakat. And until we see you next month, please don't harass, don't put yourself in a situation to be harassed. And definitely, if you are in a place where somebody is being harassed, try to be helpful. So thank you very much. See you all next month. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.